my channel. So today we are doing another video for the series, the Client Horror Storytime series. That's just the name of it. Obviously not every single story is going to have crazy clients. Sometimes it is my nail tech that's crazy, not crazy, but creepy. So these are just story times of crazy experiences that have happened to me being in the industry, and that's pretty much the point of these videos. They're supposed to be for entertainment and educational purposes, but so I am going to try to make this a little bit more educational, so I am going to include about maybe 3 or 4 different stories in this one video, so you guys can get a perspective of different situations and things like that. The main topic of discussion for today's video is going to be color corrections. So color corrections is a huge thing, and I want to apologize because I'm in the sun, you know, because I wanted to be casual in the car. So if you see like the lighting is changing, it is because of the clouds and everything. Texas weather is crazy, and it's been raining off and on. Sometimes it gets really hot in summertime, and I swear I feel like I'm in Florida. The topic of discussion in today's video, like I said, is going to be color corrections. Now, the first thing with color corrections of what the type that I'm specifically going to be talking about and the different occasions that I have had to experience it are more from drugstore box dyes. So this is more when people go to Walmart, go to, you know, Walgreens, CVS, wherever they go to the drugstore and they buy a box dye. Sometimes you know, there's just different brands. There's like a ton of different brands you can pick from, and you go to the store, you pick that dye, and you go home and you do it pretty much yourself. And a lot of people say don't do this, you know, don't go to the drugstore, go to a professional if you ever want to get your hair done. And they say this all with reason. We don't say this just because we're hairdressers and we want to work and we want to make money. We say this because in reality it's more of a hassle to deal with that and to have that in your hair than it is anything else. Just because we do, like I said, get a lot of clients that go home, they do that, they come into the salon, and then it just is a lot difficult on us, and it turns out into a more expensive process for them as well. So we do this more to help, you know, each other out. So this is the number one, obviously, thing that I get into my chair. The most difficult colors to get out are the black and red box dye. These are so difficult for us to get out of your hair once it's in there. It is a process to remove it. Sometimes, depending on the brand and everything you use, sometimes you can't even remove it. It's better to just let your hair grow out and cut it off. With this as well, your hair, because I do get this question a lot, your hair is not virgin hair again until that box dye is completely out of your hair. And so yeah, so it has to be completely out of your hair and completely cut off to have virgin hair all over again. My first occasion of when I have experienced a client where I feel like, you know, it didn't go very well was, I'm going to start off with the first one, or the one I had most recently. We'll do that one. So she was a young girl. She was super nice, super sweet. She came in, I told her, you know, it is going to be a color correction. I'm going to test strand your hair before we begin doing anything, how your hair is going to lift and how it's going to react to the bleach. Because again, a lot of things is sometimes box dyes don't react well to bleach, and it can make your hair kind of gummy, and it's just, it doesn't work, and it doesn't lift the way we need it to lift to be able to make you a blonde. So we went ahead and I did a test strand, and I told her, you know, this red is being very hard, like it's really hard to come out of your hair. And so she came in with like a dark burgundy type of red, and when I bleached it to do the test strand, it came out like a fire truck cherry red, which I will insert a picture so you guys can have a visual. So with this being said, I was like, okay, well, this red is going to be very difficult to strip out, obviously, just from the way that I can see that it's lifting. So my recommendation would be to try, if you want to try to do a color correction, because color corrections are unpredictable. We never know what's going to happen. We never know what your hair wants to decide to do. There could be other, like, just this area can have a problem and another area. You know, there's just so many factors because there's already chemicals in your hair from drugstore box dyes, and their chemicals just are so different from ours. I said, if you want to, we can try to do like a full-on process where we're going to try to remove and strip that box dye out of your hair. And then we could try to go ahead and rinse that and bleach it and just do this. So this typically will be like a 5+, 6+ process. And it is expensive, but you know, it's up to you if you want to attempt it and if you want to try. But they're unpredictable. We never know what we're going to get with those. And you could leave with your hair not lifting and me having to color it to match how dark it is now. Or you maybe, you know, the hair gods or whatever could be in our favor and it could strip out and you can leave with a really pretty caramel tone, or maybe like a dark blonde, or maybe your hair is magic and it wants to be blonde, you know. A lot of different factors go into it. So she went ahead and she said that that was fine. She wanted to go ahead and try to do the process. And although the back of her head actually just lifted all the same, we did a whole color strip. We did this whole process, and even after bleaching it on top of that, it still was not lifting past that fire truck red. Only in the back. In the front, it did, but it was still splotchy, so she still had spots of that red, but a lot of it was fading out into a pretty yellow color, which if her hair would have just all lifted to that yellow color, it would have been perfect. We could have done a really, really pretty blonde, maybe like a dark blonde balayage, and it would have been, or a color melt, and it would have been gorgeous. But her hair was not wanting to do that. And because it was not wanting to do that, we unfortunately had to, she came in with like a red tone of a level 4, and we ended up toning her with a pretty much like a natural, like a neutral brown level 4, just to cover and to hide the red and to just make everything even and to make it not look crazy. So she was super understanding, and she knew that, you know, the best thing to do was just to keep cutting it. Like, I would not even attempt to bleach it again because I don't think that that's coming out. We then later found out that she had used this brand called Arctic, which I've never personally heard of, but it's kind of like color splat, I think, and what that color does is it literally just stains your hair strand. So it didn't matter what we did to it, that color wasn't going to strip out because it like permanently stained it. Like, there's no way to get rid of that unless you just completely cut it off. Even like stripping it, color remover and all that stuff was not going to do anything for her. So but she was super understanding, knowing that it was a process, and we ended up cutting off like 2 inches of her hair to just start like getting that box dye out of her hair so that she can eventually one day be a blonde. Now, not all my clients are this understanding. So we did have another client that came in. She ended up having a, she had red box dye in her hair. She went to another salon, she got that box dye removed, and they bleached it out. So her hair for the most part was already like a level 7 blonde. So she was pretty light, and there was just a little tint, like a little bit of a stain of red still in there that you could obviously see. It was kind of like a pink red kind of color, but it was faded. It was like a faded color. So we went ahead and she came in for a consultation because I always do test strand in-person consultations for any sort of color correction, and just to give people a realistic idea of what their hair will most likely look like, and just to kind of get an idea of what we are getting ourselves into. So we went ahead and we did we started bleaching everything. This one I did not do a whole color stain remover just because I didn't, in my opinion, think that it was necessary. So we just went ahead and did a full bleach out. So some of that band was still there. It was very weird because her hair was lifting, but it wasn't lifting, like that red tone wasn't lifting out, but everywhere else on the hair strand was lifting lighter. Because of that, it was creating a band. So when there was that reddish band, I told her that we were going to need to do lowlights to kind of break it up, and then we were just going to have to tone her hair down a little bit. So she was a level 7. Her hair, after we lightened it and everything, it didn't get very light. It just made it one more level, like a level 8, and that was pretty much it. So I ended up toning her lowlights with a 6 and 8 to just kind of break it up, give her a little bit of dimension, because the picture she had showed me was one of my other clients, and obviously I know what I did on that girl's hair, so I tried to match it as best as I could. So I went ahead and did those 6NA lowlights with Redken EQ shades, and then we just toned her to a 7P7V to ash her out because the picture she had wanted was ashy. We went ahead and did this. I could tell at the end that she wasn't very pleased with it, even though we did speak in our consultation and everything that they're unpredictable and that I can't guarantee any type of end result because, you know, because there's already too much chemicals, there's already too much in the hair to be able to give you, like, even then, it's not even good to guarantee. It's better to underpromise and overdeliver. So with that being said, very difficult process. So we did talk about it in the consultation and everything, that was going to be really hard to predict anything, and I don't ever like to say, oh yeah, I think it's gonna work, or no, I don't think it's gonna work, especially with color corrections, just because I already know how it is. I've been doing them long enough to where I'm like, okay, I already know, like, this is a whole mess, and I'm not going to promise something that I am not sure that I can do, depending on their hair. So I could tell she was a little upset about it. She had told me that she was hoping that it was going to be lighter. So when we went outside, she could see it in the natural lighting and everything. She's like, it's really pretty. I just was hoping it was lighter. And I told her, I said, you know, like I explained to you, color corrections are unpredictable. We never know, but what we did do is that, you know, you had, like, you know, 3-4 inches of new growth, you had untoned blonde hair, you had it mixed with that band, so it was very wearable. It was something that looked very natural, and it looked like a really nice balayage. You would have never known she had box dye in her hair. It was a good blend, and it was a very nice transition. She ended up paying, she left, and then the very next day I ended up getting this like whole paragraph from this girl, and pretty much just saying the same thing, that she was a little upset because she had spent so much money and that her hair wasn't as light as she was hoping it was going to be, and that was pretty much it. And so I did again explain to her, you know, we talked about it in the consultation, you know, we understood that I thought we were having like an understanding that you can't predict it, and that we obviously could hope for it to be lighter, but it wasn't a guarantee, and it wasn't anything that we knew for a fact it was going to be blonder or lighter or the way that you were hoping it was going to come out. So she ended up leaving me on red. She didn't even text me back, and then the very next like an hour or two later, I got this really like weird message. It was in my requested inbox on Instagram, and it was this guy. He was like a young kid. I want to say he was like probably like 16 or 17 years old. He was like flexing his money, like $100 bills like this, in like a fan, and he just like cussed me out and was like, you're an ugly broke B word. It's like, who the heck are you? Like, first of all, it's a hair page, so I'm confused. So I ended up going to his account just to kind of like lurk on who this is that was saying that, and you know, his account was private, and then I saw like the followed by, and I mean, I don't know if it was a coincidence. I don't really think it was a coincidence, but that girl was following him and he was following her. So I don't know if that was like a friend, her brother, her boyfriend, like, I don't know. But I feel like she probably went and like ranted to him, and he probably was like, what's her at on Instagram? Let me tell her something. And he like, his little comebacks were like, he's like, why was your head shaped like a box? Like, it was just like stupid little things that I was like, okay, well, I don't even want a client like that anyways. So if she did tell this little boy to like message me, I was like, whatever, it's fine. I don't even like want a client like that. After, you know, I did what I could do, and I had explained to you and everything. So I don't know. I don't know why people are like that. So the next story, which I'm going to talk about really quick. So hers too, she had come in with a blue. I don't even have anything blue in here. She came in with like that royal, like a darker blue, and she had gone to a salon. They put it on with professional color, and I forgot what brand it was, but that stuff, after later on we ended up looking in like hair forums, and they said that that stuff is really, really hard to remove, and that just needs to be cut off. There's no way to strip that out of the hair. So her hair literally turned every color in the rainbow. It turned from that blue to a turquoise to a green, like a dark green to a light green. It was turning every color in the rainbow but what the color that I needed it to be. And we toned her hair. I want to say we toned it about 2 different colors, 2 different formulas we did, and it just would not cover that tone, the undertone of that greenish blue that I had in there. So I ended up toning her down to like a level 3. If you guys don't know levels, it's pretty dark. It's a dark brown color, almost black, just because it would not cover that color. It just wouldn't cover it. It literally, in the light, you could still see a tint of it. So I told her, unfortunately, you know, I mean, we couldn't cut off all her hair. She would have had a pixie if we would have tried to remove all that blue. So I told her it was just best to, you know, let it grow out, cut it off, and, you know, then we can see where we can go from there. But it was a fashion, like a vivid color, and those are a little bit more tricky to remove. Sometimes they remove really well because you have to be blonde to put that color on there. Unlike some colors, they just put it on over their natural, but this one you have to bleach your hair, put that color on, and that's it. So typically it should be easy because you're already blonde underneath. You're just literally like taking that color out. So that was a whole mess. She was upset, but she was like, okay, well now I know I'm never going to use that brand and I'm never going to use that color on me. And that was pretty much it, and she left, and I have not heard from her since, but I think it's been almost about a year. So I did tell her, wait about a year or 2 before I would even to like attempt, but just get regular trims to be sure to try to cut all of that color out so that you can have virgin hair again and we can make you blonde. So another instance that I'm going to talk about really quick, and then we'll just kind of finish up and wrap up this video. Have another, most of these, it's crazy because most of these clients, I do tell them ahead of time, color corrections are unpredictable. I can't guarantee you anything. I can't say it's most likely going to look like this or that or whatever, because I know better, and I know that sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes I do have box dye, black box dye, red box dye clients, and they come in and it strips out and they leave with a beautiful caramel balayage. Sometimes it does work and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on that person's hair and if it wants to work with us and the products you used on it. It has a lot of different factors, a lot of different things go into it. So I never like to promise or guarantee anything just because I know better. This girl as well, we went ahead and we did her thing. She came in, it was a red toned, probably like a level 4 or level 5 red, and like that dark burgundy-ish red. And so we went ahead, we did everything. Unfortunately, I don't know why this happened. I have a guess of why it happened. So she had gone to a salon to strip out that box dye, and she at that salon was going, you know, considered a color correction. They were going to strip out all of that color. So they went ahead, they stripped it out, and the color didn't strip out that well, so she left with a medium, like probably like a medium brown, like a light medium brown, and she didn't like that color. So she went home and she box dyed it again with black. So she did that, and so when she came into my chair, I told her, you are going to be considered a color correction. It is your gamble. If you want for us to try to attempt to get this out and start the blonding process, it is to your discretion if you want to do this. Again, I can't promise you anything with this. So if you want to attempt it and you want to try, we can try, but I will let you know that color corrections are a very expensive process and they are very long and you spend a lot of hours with us, and then on top of that you do have to come back because it is still like an ongoing process. We have to continue every couple of months. So she said that that was fine. Let's go ahead, let's do this color correction. We went ahead, we did it. Unfortunately, her hair was so splotchy. It was blonde, it was black, it was red, it had a million different things going on, and I told her, you know, this is very, very tedious. Some parts of your hair are lifting great. Your virgin hair is lifting great. Where it's turning into a hot mess is where obviously you had box dyed it, they bleached it, you covered it up again with black box dye a few times to try to even it out yourself, and then you come in here. That's why it's a whole hot mess. And I told her, you know, it is to your discretion. We can try to. It is expensive. Or, you know, I also recommend just waiting and just taking it slow. Just cut it off, wait for your virgin hair. And she said, no, like, I want to try. Let's try it. Let's attempt it. So we went ahead, we did that. And she, unfortunately, her hair was just a hot mess. And we weren't able to lift her. It just wasn't going to be even. It was just too much was going on. So we did tone her to a darker color in the meantime. And then I told her little by little, let's just keep cutting it. And then, you know, and then we can start that process. It's a process but it's a process, and it's a thing that once we get our hands dirty, once we get fully into it and see what your hair is going to do and all around, because even with the test strand, you do one strand of the hair. You don't know what the rest of it's going to do. It's just that one little piece that you did. So that one piece could have done great, but the rest of it could be crazy, which has happened to me several times. That's kind of where that left off. And she sent me a whole text the next day as well, saying how she was very upset. She had spent so much money, and then her hair didn't look that much different than how she came in. So again came the conversation of, I let you know you still wanted to go forth with it and you still wanted to do it, so no, I can't do like refunds for color corrections because they're like 6 hours, my time, my product. Like, you just wasted 6 hours of my time after I let you know. If you want to, we can try, but I wouldn't recommend it. And they are very persistent and they insist on doing their hair. So I'm like, okay, if you want to try and you're gonna pay for it, then we can do it. So that's happened several of times as well. I have a couple of other story times where, you know, stuff like this has happened, but that's for the most part the most of it. That's why actually I'm considering just not even offering color correction services to begin with, because we get some people that are very ungrateful. I had one lady as well. She went from a black box dye into a level 7 blonde, which is like really good for black box dye. Her hair lifted really well, and then when we went to check her out, she was very, in my opinion, ungrateful for how well her hair did. Because I was like, your hair actually lifted really well, because a lot of people have a hard time getting to be even and getting it to even be that light from like black box dye. And she was just like, this is as light as it is. You can't get it any lighter than this. And I'm like, no, your hair doesn't want to get any lighter, and unless you want it to melt off. And your hair did really good. So I had that experience too, where very like ungrateful for like how well their hair actually did. Like, at least you have evened hair, like at least it's starting to get there, it's doing well in the process, and it didn't get splotchy and stuff, and they still are like, oh, this is all you can do, you know. So I kind of in general wanted to remove that service completely off. Maybe one of these days I'll learn my lesson and be like, you know what, it's just too much of a hassle, and it's too annoying to deal with people that you explain it to them, but it does go in one ear and out the other, and they just don't understand that it's a process and that it takes time. And if it was easy, you know, anybody would be doing it if it was so easy. And obviously that's why you came to us to do it and to get it professionally done. You know, that's why we have a license, that's why we go to school, that's why we can do continuing education, that's why we do all these things, is to help and to try to figure out how we can fix people's hair. But anyways, that is pretty much the end of my little salon client horror stories for color corrections. I've had a good handful since doing like women's hair color the past 2 years. 2 years, like 3 years. Yeah, we're going on year number 3. So I've definitely had my fair share of crazies when it's come to it, my fair share of people that you explain it to them, you tell them as best as you can, and they still don't get it through their head, and they still just like don't understand why their hair just doesn't work, and it's all your fault, and all that good stuff. So I do have a couple of more. I was kind of debating if I was going to continue this series, just because I don't want to seem like a negative Nancy, just always talking crap. So I'm trying to make them a little bit more educational, but I am hoping to do some more different type of videos for you guys. And yeah, so I'm excited. I have this week off because I was supposed to be on vacation, but I'm not. I'm here. So I'm going to try to film some more videos for you in the meantime, but in my next video that I'm going to have show you guys, or I don't know, we are going to do, I have some very exciting news that is already on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, you're already updated. But if you don't, if you just follow me here on YouTube, then you don't know what I'm talking about. So we will have that in the next video. Alrighty guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you guys can always know whenever I upload new videos, and click the little bell so you guys can get a notification whenever I upload a new video. With that being said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.